What's going on, everybody? It's Ron Brown, LMP People's Fitness Professional, alongside my co-host,
Mikey Fever.
and this is a New Yorker's Perspective. Thank you for viewing. Part of the technical difficulties, we came in and came out. Pause. So now we're here, ready to give you that work. Brought to you by Tiffany French from Atlanta. This is a New Yorker's Perspective. However, we got Atlanta on the check-in. We got Chicago sometime on the check-in. This is a show for everybody. Just New Yorkers hosting it. Without further ado, let's hit them with that intro and then go right into today's show. All right, what's going on, Tiffany? How you doing this evening?
I'm doing fine. I'm finally here.
Yeah, guys. We had some technical difficulties with the screen and everything like that, but we're here now. Let's talk about it. Matter of fact, how you doing, Mike?
I'm good, brother. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear.
Yeah, good, man. How you, man?
Man, life is good. Life be lifing.
That's it. Life be lifing. I like that one.
That's what Kodak Black said.
Yeah, life be life.
Life on life, homie.
That's a fact.
Yeah, I'm like smacking on gum because I'm hungry right now. Anyway, let's get ready to rock and roll. Tiffany, you want to talk about Sonya? Now, I was talking with brother Sharif Bey about the sister, and he says that they directed her to the pot to pick up the pot so they could kill her. That's his theory. And I saw the video probably one time. I didn't keep analyzing that video because I didn't like watching a woman get shot down. I can't do it. You know what I mean? That's just not for me. You know what I'm saying?
Horrific.
Yeah, for sure. So how you see it, Tiffany?
Well, I'm gonna say this as a black woman myself, and just watching that, it become very traumatizing. It brought about the PTSD in me because it makes me wonder, well, okay, where is my security at? Would I be safe to call the cops in case of a serious emergency? Because as much as I don't like, first of all, I don't like the police. I'm not a fan of cops. I don't even like walking past them. But I know that there's going to be times where the cops is going to be needed when there are situations taking place that is especially beyond my control or our control. So when I saw that, it just brought out that PTSD. It just made me feel like, well, damn, what is a value? What is your value as a black woman in this country? Because it's like, after all, we still have to worry about our protection when we leave outside our home in our neighborhood, right? Then we got to worry about our protection when it comes to these cops. And she wasn't the only one that got killed by the police, and she ain't going to be the last one. I hate to say that. So it just makes me question, where does my value lie in this country? What does it really mean to be a black person and a woman in this damn country? So for me, it's really traumatizing. And I have to be honest about that. And I was getting angry, and it took me, I had to kind of just sit back and reflect and just say, you know what, let me do some self-reflection. Let me just sit back and think. And let me just think about, how I made it this far in my life. Because me and her are around the same age. She's probably a year older than me. So I had to sit back and I had to think to myself, let me just sit back and reflect on life and what the meaning of life is. So it was just like a self-reflection, but at the same time, it was just deep thoughts that was running through my mind. A lot of deep thoughts that were just going through my head.
So what are some of the deep thoughts, if you could share them?
This growing hatred inside of me. It was like, because have you noticed that most of the time when it comes to police officers, they're white most of the time. You know what I'm saying? So it started to make me feel like I have some form of hatred towards white people. Or it just made me look at white people very, very differently. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, and I don't mean to sound like I'm being a bigot, but at the same time, this just reminded me that racism is still around. White supremacy is still around. And like I said, I just felt like I just have some form of hatred towards Caucasian people because of all the things that take place. You know what I'm saying? I mean, not just from what happened to us during slavery and Jim Crow, but look at the economic status of our people. Look at the fact that we are still considered as minorities, and then we get treated like animals. And then, when the police come to our neighborhood, a lot of times we don't receive that same type of protection as if someone that was living in the suburbs, right, or any other ethnic group. When they come to the hood, it's like they look at us as less of humans. You know what I'm saying? It's like our values are not worthy, or our lives are not worthy of in the eyes of law enforcement. So it's like they looking for a cue to do the things they're doing and get away with it. You know what I'm saying? And then this leads me to Donald Trump, because he wants to go about bringing immunity to the police officers when they gun us down, which is why I feel like, I mean, and I don't know why black people are so hyped up to vote for him. Like, why are you so hyped up? Do you not hear what this man is saying? He's saying something about immunity for the police officers, and you still want to vote for this man? And in my eyes, he's not qualified. Neither is Kamala Harris.
Now, I want to before you jump ahead, right? I want to
Yeah.
stay on Sonya. Now,
Yeah.
you were saying, like, the Europeans, they come to our communities and they treat us like animals, right? Now,
Yeah, I mean, like, when it comes to law enforcement in particular,
right, when it comes to law enforcement, they just treat us like animals. But like, I want to make sure that I say this right, but at the same time be a little challenging on our thinking. Right now, they come to our neighborhoods with this perceived notion of the way we are based on what they're fed through media, right? So they're already brainwashed before they get to us. Now, when they get to us, what do they see? Now, I'm not saying in this case, in Sonya's case, I'm saying in general. Now, Sonya aside, when I'm saying this, when they come to our neighborhoods and they see us, how are we acting? Are we politically involved? What are we doing as a collective? How are we treating each other? Because you can't expect people from the outside to treat us like human beings when we treat each other like animals. So that's just how I see it, right?
okay.
So my thing is, we're not gonna get anyone to respect us outside of our communities if we don't respect ourselves. Okay, and this has been happening. This George Floyd, Sonya, so many things have happened between the police force and black people. We still have yet to come together and create something to protect us against the police, as the Black Panthers did back in the days.
Oh, well, let me piggyback on that. Watch
Mhm.
this. There are people who want to and who have the motivation to do so. But you know what happens? We get the same criticism from those in our community saying that, well, no, you can't do that because you are going to be vigilant.
Mhm.
Now, wait a minute. So how do we go about protecting our community if it's going to be considered as being vigilant? Right? I mean, because I feel like we need street laws. We need street justice. You know what I'm saying? We need to have the community come together and not only combat against police brutality, but those who are causing harm to innocent individuals, right? But
Yep.
there are people in our community that's making the criticism saying, no, that's not a good idea. Because that means you try to be above the law. Well, how are we trying to be above the law? In what way? And it seems like the law is not really doing its job. You know what I'm saying? The law enforcement only care to a certain extent. Hell, I done heard so many stories where, people who come from various parts of the United States who grew up in the hood say that the police will not even come to their neighborhood. Like they can call the cops and it will probably take the cops 30 minutes to show up at their damn house. And by the time the cops get there, it's too late.
I'm gonna pull from what you said, Tiffany, and from both from you and Ron. I agree with what you say as far as we need to be policing our own community. We have to be accountable and use intelligence within the systems to overthrow, should I say overthrow, and learn how to deal with these people that tend to abuse their authority. Right?
Mm.
That's number
Right.
one. Number two is that we know the history of the police, how they were created, and it carries the stigma for what they have done to our people in this country for a long period of time with the abuse of power and abuse and brutality. And many of us, some cops were considered were bigots based on their actions, and some of them were part of the Klan and so on and so forth. But they also pick up this narrative that many others from outside America and within America is what they see on television, the actions that are perpetuated. They come in with this mindset,
Right.
right, and how they trained. So when they see, like the movies, they hear the music, they see the action, the behavior, they be like, "Wow, these people are barbaric." So we're gonna go in there with that same mentality because we know that we have an upper. They some of them outsmart you by knowing the law. They have the badge behind them. They see how you behave, so they're gonna be like, "Yeah, I don't have to deal with you because I view you as a filthy animal." That's how some of them way think. But if a cop come at me a certain way, I'm gonna address them a certain way with respect. Like you don't speak to me like that. If you hear because your job is to de-escalate, not to escalate the situation. Some cops don't know that.
Mhm.
We shouldn't escalate because at the end of the day, I'm advocating violence. If you're not carrying a weapon to protect yourself, knowing that you're outgunned by these guys, and they feel threat based on the environment because they don't come from the hood that we come from, so they're not gonna have the same morals and ethics.
Right. But
Yeah.
that's why the law is in place and the government is in place with all its many systems and mechanisms to pretty much keep these things under control. I'm saying that to say this, right? How many of us are involved with the local police? What do they call it? It's like
Community
community
affairs,
outreach,
yeah,
community affairs.
and outreach.
How many of us in the community are in tune with the community affairs? We have a lot of so-called leaders, and we have leaders from the dark side, I like to call, or the street side. We have leaders on the other side,
Mhm.
right? So I mean, like so-called gang leaders or family leaders, and then we have community leaders, right? And so out of these leaders, what are these leaders actually doing in the community to make sure these things don't happen?
What it is, Ron? Hold on, to not to cut you. We also got to understand there's a stigma with police because I've been a victim of when police are profiling you for no reason, had guns pulled out on me by police when I was younger. Sometimes provoked, sometimes unprovoked. I'm just there in a neighborhood that they deem unsafe, so they automatically you're viewed as a threat. And again, that comes from improper training. Some walk around with, as you mentioned, a preconceived notion, and they'll just assume like you just fit the description.
That's I understand that, right? Now
Yeah.
here's my point though. My point is we know that about the police, right? We know a lot about the police because they've shown us over the years ways and actions. What we don't know is who in our communities are the leaders and are they in connection with community affairs with each precinct police department in each district,
I'm
county, whatever.
I'm gonna be honest with you. There are a few organizations within in one area, like we have Drum, and you have that brother um Tripe Gangster that has his community, that his program that deals with the police and people in the inner city, and that's all I know of now. That's all I know. But again, a lot of people don't want to deal with them based on personal experience, and they have stigmas, family, what they see on television traumatizes them. They don't want to deal with that. Like how Tiffany mentioned, it invokes some emotions on her. They sound like I used to sit back. Remember during the pandemic how I used to speak during the George Floyd thing. You thought I was crazy at one point, but I understood where he was coming from, was to be intelligent. Like you can't go out there on some vigilante without proper foundation, because you look bad.
Mhm.
You gotta know what you're doing out there.
And
Now,
then here's the thing.
this
As
brother.
far as leaders are concerned, right?
Mhm.
There are, like Mikey said, there are leaders out there, but you know what happens? They get overlooked because you got those mainstream leaders who are counter revolutionaries. They only show their face when it comes time to get on the camera
Ambulance
and say,
chasers.
right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, for example, I can give you, what's that lady's name? Tamika Marlory, if that's her name.
Mallory, yeah.
Yeah, Mallory. So she, for example, right, a counter revolutionary. She only shows her face, when it comes down to police brutality. But at the same time, this woman making a lucrative income. And I'm glad that Tamir Wright's mother called her out and also called out Black Lives Matters as well. I'm glad she did that because she's really pointing out, well, what is the whole purpose, what their whole solution is, what's their agenda. And for a lot of these so-called leaders, their agenda is to profit. If they feel like they can't benefit profit off of police brutality or anything that's dealing with racial injustice, then they don't want to be involved. So you look at Al Sharpton. How you think he got famous?
Ambulance
That
chaser.
whole story about Tawana. I got her last name.
Tawana
Tawana.
Brawley.
Who?
Tawana Brawley.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tawana Brawley. Yeah. That what made him famous right there, that Tawana Brawley situation, right? And then from there, this man, he became a celebrity. He became a sensation.
Well, let's not
So
forget he was the informant for the FBI, and all that racism that he tend to preach. He has received. It's not a political thing I'm doing. He has received donations from Donald Trump back then as well, and he was an informant. He's an ambulance chaser. So you gotta watch who you support, and hold your thought right there. There are a lot of these ambulance chasing revolutionists that go on social media just to sell merch and sell you pain, but don't give you no proper guidance. This is why here on NYP we seek that information and
Right.
give it to the
But
people.
right now, this is what I think. I think that they just don't they just don't some of them of course are for the money. Like, okay, we're gonna bring his name up, my son. Now, I think my son is in a sense genuine. However, I just think that what he's doing is he's not attacking issues, or he's not reaching out to government officials to really make change, like the right government officials to make change, because maybe he's not thinking right. I don't know. I can't really critique what he's doing because I'm not with him on because he's really on the front line. He's really there. He's really out there. So we can't really critique these people too much, um, because we're not there seeing what's going on. Because like for you and I, for instance, when we were doing the pod thing, there were a lot of things going on with that, with Paul, just organizing people, getting food, like trying to run programs, trying to connect with other people, and and so a lot of these politicians are disingenuous.
Yes.
So you gotta, it's a whole game, politics.
It's a game, as one brother said, that it's a democratic stronghold on New York City, and people don't want to. They want to rub shoulders until they put their hand in your pocket, and
So that's what I'm saying. Like for my son, it could be that he wants to do things, but it's hard for him to do certain things because of the way the political climate is in New York.
and you got to appease the people. That's one thing about our people when we look for civil rights activists or just activists in the community. You have to speak the language of the people. You constantly got to tell them, yo, pain, pain, pain. But the moment you say, all right, we know what happened to us. Now I'm gonna tell you, brothers, how to be more logical and be accountable for what you do. They're gonna be like, oh, you a sellout. As soon as you said, yo, brothers, I know what's going on, but it's us as well. Like what happened to Sonya Massey is a terrible thing. That cop should be tried and put under the prison because I don't believe he was fit for the job based on his records as well. But we also got to check ourselves within our community. If they see us taking each other out for no reason, they're gonna feel comfortable disrespecting you. Because
Or they're gonna feel comfortable with shooting us straight in the face. Now
exactly.
look, that's my thing, right? If we had, okay, for instance, we I think kind of got away from organizing the way we used to organize in during the civil rights era and the Black Panther era, right? I don't, how many people see like people organize, walking together, eating together, put, just like the Hebrew Israelites used to be outside teaching outside and all of that. Like that is not like it used to be. Like back in the days, I'm speaking for New York. Back in the days, there was the guards on one corner, there was the Hebrew Israelites on another corner, there was a Nation of Islam over here. You know what I'm saying? And you had the Comedics over here with a table. You know what I'm saying? Like now it's not. And then the Panthers, you see the new Black Panther Party walking down the block deep. That in 2024 is not like that anymore.
Nah,
We're getting away from like organizing. Hence
nah.
the reason why people could just shoot us with no problem without any kind of consequences.
Because you know what, my motto was this. And hold on, sorry, Tiffany. I always kept this. Rest in peace to Mr. Ray, who had a revolutionary background, who's a former Panther. Always used to say, yo, if they touch one of yours, you touch 10 of theirs, right? Be strategic. Our people don't have that heart anymore. That's number one. We're not strategic, as you mentioned. We don't have no unity, and we only tend to get in the uproar when it's us against them. But we have to check our community as well. Hold people now. Why are there so many guns in our community? We know where the guns come from, but we got to tell these young brothers, listen, you taking each other out at a fast rate. So you can't be in the streets marching and screaming, stop the violence, when the other day your man just took somebody out and you talking about we're smoking on that pack. You understand? Or when it's time to go ride out when the police say what happened with Sonya Massey, even in New York, when the cops come disrespect your community, they shoot a brother, these brothers will not rally to go retaliate on a cop. They become lawyers out of being cowards. As you say, Brother Ron, they are the toughest cowards. But when it comes to killing one of their own, they got the heart to go out there and do it. I'm gonna shoot this. When it comes to the cop, nah, because if you do that, get caught, you're gonna do life, brother. I'm like, oh, since when you came out the law? Hypocrites, bro. That's why I look at them like I ain't want to hear nothing from these brothers no more, man. Bunch of cowards.
But then you got the ones that don't care about law enforcement, and they will go to the extreme to take a couple of cops out, especially if they know that that cop is an undercover cop and that's in that area, or that cop is a dirty cop. That you got some people that don't care. They'll take that risk of going to prison for the rest of their life for taking out a police officer. Okay.
Mhm.
And it don't matter who they are, you know what I'm saying? They could be a drug lord, they can be some regular average Joe, whatever. You got those individuals who got the guts to just say, you know what, the hell with them. I don't care who they are, they can get it too. especially if I know that you a dirty cop and you well known for doing this and that and the other, yeah, you gonna get it too. You gonna get the business. But I want to, but I want to piggyback on what Mike had said earlier about, confronting the police officer as far as like telling the officer how to approach him, how to talk to him or whatnot. I want to say this to you, Mike. I get what you're saying, but even when you do that, guess what they're gonna tell you? They're gonna tell you, shut the fuck up, nigga. Keep your mouth closed. You don't tell me what the fuck to do. I will put you in handcuffs. I will place you under arrest. What you're gonna do about it? That's the type of text that you're going to get.
Of course, I know.
Well, here's the thing, right? Like, the remedy for this is what I think. The remedy for this, right? Let's say wherever you live in your community, there's a group there, right, of leaders, right? Isn't it? Would you say that? Whether they are part of
course,
of city council, whatever the case may be, community watch, community board, right? Okay, you can you can take that community board or the leaders in that community, organize to have some kind of camaraderie with community affairs with the police officers, police station, right? Now, classes could be administered as well in the community on how, police and just like town hall talks between police officers and the community itself to say, hey, we don't like that you're doing this in the community, or we like that you're doing this, and the police officers can give their feedback and how they feel and what they think and where they want to go and their plans for the community. I think there's a disconnect between the community and the police, and I think that's the biggest problem, and the biggest problem is because the people aren't organized to deal with that, to administer a bridge between community and the police.
The key word is respect. The two things are respect and community, as you mentioned, Ron. Respect and communication. That avenue has to be created. That line has to be created where we understand the laws, educate the people. Like, all right, there's no loitering. There can't be loud sounds, and people got to be honest about that. You can't be 11 at night, people sleeping, you're blasting, blaring music, you crowding the sidewalk. Like, respect small ordinances like that. They won't create a conflict. You get what I'm saying? Like, we have to have an understanding of each other's culture, because they have the blue wall of silence. We have our culture on here, but we got to come together to a level of understanding. And I agree with what you said, man. Yeah, that has to be done. And back to as you said, with the fake activism, even Black Lives Matter generated 96 something $million. What have they done for the community? They just gave you guys something cool to say and painted sidewalks. That's it. That's all I gotta say, man. Nothing was done.
Now, Tiffany, you have something to say on that?
Oh yeah. Yeah, all they did was Black Lives Matter. You right, $96 million. That's what they generated. And one of the girls, she bought a mansion out in California somewhere, out in Beverly Hills, if I'm not mistaken. And then the other girl took the money and funded her brother's studio or some type of business he had going on. So that goes to show you what's their agenda, what the main purpose was. So they saw this as a profiting thing. And you know what I'm saying? It's not really about trying to help the families of these victims. Not trying to say, okay, at least let's raise some money up to get some scholarship program for the other children, or let's make sure that this family, get taken care of or something. You know what I'm saying? They weren't thinking of that. They were thinking about their own interests. And which is one of the reasons why I have a hard time personally getting involved with supporting organization. I used to be out there protesting and things like that. And when I saw exactly what the whole agenda was, it made me just stop, because I was like, okay, what is y'all main purpose? My thing is, what is the main purpose behind all of this? What do y'all really want? Are y'all seeing this as an opportunity to just make a come up and become a celebrity? Or is this something that really matters the most to you? Or do you really care about what's actually going on in the community?
Right now, I'm gonna hold on a second before we go into it. I'll probably cut your face out. But my bad, Tiffany. In Chicago, we have police districts. In Chicago, we have police districts. In Chicago, the street organization, the so-called gangs, keep the police in check for the most part in the 80s and 90s. But when the crack hit in the hoods, it changed. Bingo, bingo.
Those are the leaders you're talking about.
You get what I'm saying? So that's what he said. When the crack came in, that changed everything. So now the new crack is social media. So I think that I'm gonna put y'all on the spot real quick, and I can ask myself the same question. In your community, right where you live, do you go? Is there some kind of community board, town hall meetings?
Honestly, from being here, I have been researching that, but I haven't seen any. But I did research on the district, and it's funny. I was telling my shorty today that I'm willing to join that. It's funny that you say that. Honestly, today I was like, I'm getting involved because something has to change. Something has to change.
Now, Tiffany, how about you?
Yeah, there is, but then there's a problem because we have so many celebrities out here in Atlanta. It seems like it's galvanized around them more than the actual community in itself. So there are people that go to these town hall meetings or whatnot, or attend to these places, but at the same time, you got these local celebrities, celebrities that's from out here. They be at these town hall meetings, or they they be at the city halls, right? But it seems like everything is galvanized around them instead of the people. So it becomes a joke because, like, okay, well, you serving the interests of these celebrities more than you serving the interests of the people who are actually affected day by day. These celebrities can always go back home. They can always go to a mansion. You know what I'm saying? They can always go and take their trip or whatnot. But for the rest of us, we really can't do that. And we have a serious homeless crisis out here, a major homeless crisis. Especially if you go into the downtown area, you will see a lot of homeless people. And it seems like not much is being done about that.
Now,
so yeah, there's town hall meeting, but again, it's galvanized around celebrities.
right now, I think this is what I think. Right now, I could be wrong. We can go back and do some research to figure it out. But I think that the reason why it's probably galvanized around celebrities because celebrities are celebrities for a reason, right? They know how to properly market themselves to get people behind them, and that's what they do, right? So they say, "Hey, I'm going to be at the town hall meeting next week," and they post it on social media. Now they have people from Atlanta coming from all parts of Atlanta just to be a part of this town hall meeting, just to see this celebrity, because the celebrity is celebrity. The celebrity has marketing dollars behind them, and they're business savvy. So I think that's what you brothers and sisters are probably up against out there. Um, However, it still doesn't. It still shouldn't stop you from going to town hall meetings and getting involved. Now, I'm no one to really talk because I wasn't involved in town hall meetings. Because when I was real young, 18, 19, I tried to get involved in the Democratic Party Club in Harlem. And I just noticed there's a bunch of what I thought effery going on. What I'm realizing as an older person now, it's not necessarily that. It's just older people there who are involved, and they have old ideas and old ways of doing things. Now, the younger generation coming in there are not many people from the younger generation getting involved, and that's a big problem. For whatever reason, It could be because it's not cool. It could be because they would rather do this or rather do that. Politically, in our community, we're not as involved as we should be, and therefore we end up with issues like police brutality, homelessness, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I think the our next we gotta make getting involved in the community cool again.
Exactly. And you know what? And we could say, mention all these things, but it starts with the system as well and the people, like the police. The Justice Department need to check their officers. Like, I'm not with that whole defund the police thing, but they do need to start holding these officers accountable and stop using, because no matter what happens, even if you sue them in a civil case, that's your taxpayer dollars paying them off. So it's not the officer himself. They need to retrain these cops. And as you mentioned on the phone, Ron, we were speaking about that. These cops don't have tactical training, because the Sonya Massey thing, one shot in the air could have scared her off. And from watching the video over, I didn't see no threat.
No.
Right.
You understand? So this officer was just a bigot, and they are bigot officers in the force. We can't hide that. There's prejudiced people in all walks of life. Go ahead, Tiff.
No, they felt threatened because she said, "I will rebuke you in the name of Jesus." That's
No.
what ticked them off when she said, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus."
Yeah, that right there, and you could tell based on his record from what they later discovered, he had a bad record, and you can clearly see from the video when they first approach her, her words are kind of incoherent. We're not making sense. You clearly see that the person had a mental health issue.
Mm-hmm.
You can clearly say that, but I guess he was just on a mission.
Yeah, I think with this situation and with what's going on with Kamala Harris, et cetera, and like all the things that are going on in the media, it kind of like reinforces stereotypes. I just put that up there, and like, and what the media does is when you reinforce stereotypes, it actually it doesn't help the social climate of the area or any area of the society in general, and we end up with stuff like this. So the police officer could have gone in there with this thought of, hey man, these people are black, she's black, these are how black people this is how black people act, they're animals, they're savages. I see them on social media all the time, because remember the algorithms are controlled as well. And he went in there and did that. So my thing is, how do we see this every few years? This happens. And when we were coming up, when I was real young, Tiffany, you probably were a baby or not even born, maybe, but like Rodney King. Rodney
Oh,
King, remember when,
I was around. I was probably like 3 years old.
yeah. So
That's
now
real.
now when Rodney King, when that happened with Rodney King, uh in LA they rioted and things like that. And that was when that happened, we just kind of came off of this whole black power trip, right? Matter of fact, not even came off, like we was still black power in the music,
Yeah, the consciousness and all.
conscious music, when that happened to Rodney King. Fast forward, and then a whole riot happened. Fast forward, right, 2000s, I mean, I guess with George Floyd, the Black Lives Matter thing happened. So they organized to make that happen, though. So at least that, you know what I'm saying? But that Rodney King riot put fear in the hearts of these people.
Yes, it did.
Fear makes people move and make things happen
Because they
and change
mobilized.
laws. Say it again.
We were mobilized because we had unity for that moment. But this is what I'm saying. It's a beautiful thing when we stand together, when it's the outside opposition. But what do we do for the issues within our community? We have to address that the same way. No, you little guys not gonna be spinning blocks over here. There's children here playing. You're not gonna be pitching this crack over here. You understand what I'm saying? But we don't
Right.
use that same vigor. It's just like, as long as it's the police, we complain. If it's so-called black on black crime, have a small protest, a little candlelight vigil, and have the pastor pray, and that's it. Like,
But
come
going
on.
back to what I was saying before, there are people who trying and who wants to do that, but then again, there's the inside criticism from other blacks saying that no, why don't do this? This gonna cause more problems, etc. So it's like, well, you stuck. What do you do at this point? How do you go about doing it? Because you can't rely on the very same people who's constantly killing you down in the middle of the streets or whatever. So what do you do? I mean, the people in the neighborhood, they too afraid or they feel some kind of way about trusting their own to actually do the protection. So now you left, what I'm saying, it's like you're kind of empty handed because you don't know what can't you do? What do you have? What option do you have available?
The Panthers did it. The Panthers were running down on drug dealers and all that.
Right.
See, that's the Panthers. That's the Panthers though. But and then look at what happened to those Panthers too. What happened
FBI,
to they end up being on Edgar Hoover's hit list, right?
Quintel Pro.
Yeah, the COINTELPRO, yes. And look what happened to Fred Hampton.
Yeah, your own people will sell you out too.
Huh?
Your own people will sell you out as well.
Pardon me, y'all. I don't mean to cut y'all off, but I personally think it's the solution to these issues are easier than what we think. Now, the hardest issue, the biggest issue is getting us to get involved. That's the biggest issue. Because I just gave, okay, for instance, right? In your area where you live, Tiffany, where you live, Mike, you have how many groups? You got the Hebrew Israelites, you got the 5%ers, you got the Moors, you got a bunch of different groups, right? Where you live. These groups can come together and be pretty much like a liaison between the community and political figures.
You're right about that. You're right, but here's why they won't do it. And I'm gonna say this: difference in theology. You gotta factor in testosterone levels amongst men at times, and the ego. Nah, if I do this, I want to be recognized for this. It got to be under this umbrella right here. Not knowing all you guys within those groups get your head cracked. Yeah, all face the same dilemmas in the social arena, but no, you got to follow my doctrine, my program. I like this position here, just like the older activists, as you mentioned. The older generation like their position of power. They don't want to hear new voices come about out there with new ideas.
And there was a situation that happened here in Atlanta at one of the events. I'm not going to say the names of individuals, but you got the new Black Panther Party that was going against one of the old Black Panthers member, right? Long story short, the member from the old Black Panther Party, who is still around to this day, he ended up getting injured by the members of the new Black Panther Party. Why? Because the new Black Panthers didn't want to hear what he had to say, right? And he was giving some type of critique, criticism as far as like his disapproval of how they was going about operating and how they were using the name and etc. That always been a big issue with the former Black Panthers, with the new Black Panther Party. But anyway, the situation got ugly, and this man ended up getting injured. They end up beating the hell out of this man.
Wow.
Yeah.
Talking about Bobby Seale?
No, not Bobby Seale. No, it's another brother. He was a former Black Panther. Like I said, I'm not going to put his name out there, but he was a former Black Panther. I think he originally from New York. I think he was with Afeni Shakur.
Oh wow. Oh, come on, Jamal.
Huh?
Not Jamal.
Yeah, I just didn't want to put his name. I didn't want to put his name out there.
Let's leave it out.
Huh?
Let's leave it at that. But and also I wanted to
but that's just an example. Just to, use that as an example is basically what you were saying. Yeah.
The lack of community is also based. Our people are so frightened. Like say if you don't say if for instance I don't agree with another Panthers or such and such approach to certain things. I said let's do a more intelligent approach instead of going out there on emotions. Brother, you're counter-revolutionary. And people begin to the Black power struggle is now marketable. you could sell pain. You see how Ron say his solutions are easy. You could go out there. It's like, here's a solution. Take this approach. Take this approach. It works. I have done the research on it. They're like, nah, man. We gotta sell that pain. We gotta go in the streets and march and cry. Nah, man. Hit them where it hurts. Economics. Learn to use local like you said, start community organizations, deal with local politicians. You gotta lobby sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
no, we want to march and cry all day. That's how long are we marching for?
Yeah, I think there are a group of people out there that want to march and cry all day, and then there's a group of people out there that want to actually do something. In each group, 5% is all that. So
What's
I
the key
think
word?
that as the 5%ers say, there's 85s within the fives, there are tens within the fives, and there are fives within the fives. So it's like out of each group, you can find people who would you consider your allies. You're on the same wavelength. Okay, you think that we should all go out there and be a liaison between the community and the police force, political, what did it say, community affairs. Okay, you feel the same way. You think the same way. You think the same way. Okay, you take your crown. You grab your fez. Let's all go to the police station. Let's form a relationship with the police to become a liaison between the police force and the community. We just pull those people together, like minds, and then we move on that, because everyone as a collective is not going to do, you know what I mean? They're not going to be on the same accord. Everybody's not going to be in lockstep with everything, that we present. So I think just overall in general, the community leaders, wherever you are, should be a liaison between the public and the police. That's my remedy to all of these things, to slow down all of these things. What I would like to know is, in Springfield, Illinois, what are their voting records like? What are the community outreach like? What's the political climate in that area in particular?
Corrupt politics, mostly Democrat. Um, the history of Chicago is just crazy with the politics. That's why it got that it's been dubbed the Windy City, not because of the weather, because of the politics just blow wherever it goes with families and money. And
Mm.
until our people learn what politics is, we will not go anywhere. It's not emotion. It's follow the money. With unity and money, you could get things done. You know.
Right, with numbers and money up.
And I'm gonna keep it real. If people saying with all this happening with Kamala and Trump, say for instance that Trump really had Project 2025 going, right? I would have been happy that happened. It will force us to work together. I would have been happy because we have to work together. Until then, we're gonna have the same issues.
Now, as far as Kamala and Donald Trump, Tiffany, you got anything on that?
Oh, yes. So, as I mentioned, both of them, in my opinion, would not be qualified to be president because, and it's funny that Trump calls somebody incompetent, but he's not too competent himself. Um,
Yo, check this out. Hold on. Look at this though. Before you go on that, I don't hold that thought, please. But I had to bring this up. Roosevelt Ward said Springfield is Republican.
mm, mm, mm,
Really?
mm.
Right. Because
That's a
we got
first.
some parts that are Republican and you got some Democrats. It's like New York, certain districts. But
But
okay.
when I forgot, the brother Raheem was basically pulled it up.
Yeah.
I saw Republican, 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 Republican.
Mhm.
Mm,
And Chicago,
Only
only Chicago is
Gotcha, Democrat.
Democrat.
Yeah. But
mm.
either way, police shootings happen whether it's Democrat, Republican areas.
There you go. There you go.
And
Point
that's
is,
why I
there
always tell people it's the left, right, same bird, man. It goes down.
you go. There you go. And they both are byproduct of white supremacy. They both byproduct of patriarchal white supremacy.
I don't think it's that simple though.
They both are byproducts.
Of course, right? This whole country is a byproduct of white supremacy. But my thing is like this. I don't think it's that simple. I think we need to look at voting records and how the state, the city, the town, how are they voting? How are the people? Because one thing I do know about this country is it's about the people, right? So if the people are not doing or if the people aren't active in their own community and doing the necessary things they should do for their own community, then guess what? You're gonna have these things always happen
What JFK said, what it's not what your country can do for you, it's what you can do for your country.
for your country.
You know what I'm saying? It's like I said, I this may come off wrong for many, but it's not me. I'm not bigot, far from it. I see what Elijah Muhammad was saying. You work amongst your people, do for self. Even Malcolm said it when he started his own organization. Let
And
us
Booker T.
close.
Washington said it too.
Let's we're not shunning people out, but we have a lot of internal work to do within our communities. We gotta address this thing with slavery and you know all these other ills we have to clean up. We have a lot to clean up psychologically. We have to instruct some discipline in our communities. Um, and learn. Not saying we all monolithic, but we gotta learn how to love and embrace ourselves in order to embrace others. Because we look at it as like the hood mentality means like the dirtier it is, the more really you are. Nah, man. You know what I'm saying? If you sit over shit for, pardon my language, for 3 days, it no longer stink no more. You know what I'm saying?
Now
Mm-hmm.
look at this though. So now with Roosevelt Ward chiming in, right? See, that's why next week we gotta have the call in. I'm gonna have this call in thing figured out, y'all. So y'all could call in because Roosevelt Ward, you could call in. That'd have been dope if you could call in.
Yeah,
He said
definitely.
downstate Illinois still have sundown towns right now. So look, based on what he hold on 1 second. Ask the brother Arnell Bay. I think that's his name from Carbondale, Illinois. He be on the show. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. That's our brother. Now, this what he's saying right now is just basically giving me a broader perspective of what's going on in Illinois in general. Why is there so much violence in Chicago? You get what I'm saying?
That's a fact.
The killing.
That's a fact.
He says Chicago is Democrat.
Mm-hmm.
How does a white officer just walk in and just gun this woman down? Is saying that he's saying that Springfield is Republican. So we could take a look at that alone and just start walking backwards and start seeing. We could look at the records. We could look at statistics. Like everything is documented. It's all online. We could see it
Mm-hmm.
and come to a conclusion and figure out a way where we can stop this stuff from happening so much in our communities. So now I want to go into Donald Trump and Kamala. I want to keep going in on that.
Oh, okay. I was gonna finish up what I was saying. So I was saying that Donald Trump was saying that Kamala Harris was she's somewhat incompetent, and he gave his criticism about Joe Biden, saying that he was incompetent as well. But in my opinion, I think that he's incompetent because if we look at what was going on about 4 years ago, right? What took place at the White House. And I mean, and we see how he was operating as a president. That should let us know that, okay, this man is not competent to be a president. And as far as Kamala Harris, I don't fully trust her because I think that she's pandering off of Black people, especially Black women. And to be honest, I don't think she's ready for that type of position anyhow. Because see, when you get into that level of becoming a president of the United States, you're running a country. You're not running a neighborhood. You're not running a community. You're not running a town. You know what I'm saying? You're not running a city. You're running a country. So it's a lot that goes into it. So this is where you have to be able to deal with the pressure that comes along with with all the policies, and then you're dealing with foreign country or whatnot. So I kind of agree with Donald Trump when he did say in the interview. He said that if she get elected as a president, they gonna be like, aha, we can walk over her. We can walk over her. And I thought about that for a moment. I said, he's somewhere, he kind of has a point there, because by this being the first time a woman being so if she becomes president, it will be the first time a woman running the country of United States. But the question is, would she be ready for that? Would she really be ready for it? If she's at that point where she's able to use her critical analysis, critical thinking, and be able to rationalize, right, when it comes to certain policies, and when it comes to dealing like with foreign relation and all of that, is she really ready for that?
I would say yes, because she's not doing it on her own.
Right.
She has a whole team to help her make decisions.
Okay, now watch this. When it comes to the military, guess what? She'll be considered as a chief, because the military can't do anything without her approval. You know what I'm saying? Without her saying okay, or no, you can't do this. So now, if you're in that position, especially when you deal with the military branches, right? And it comes down to war and all of that, how are you gonna go about making those decisions? Because remember, you're the chief.
Well, the military has what's the name of the guy? The military. Oh my
I
God!
know you're talking about like people that had Colin Powell's position. Those kind.
Right. Exactly.
But in reality, between Trump and Harris, Eric B for president. But let me be real. I'm gonna keep it real. Neither president is really, to me, is competent, because as you mentioned and Ron said, they have a cabinet behind them. Some are great, like Ronald Reagan was a great communicator because he was an actor, but he didn't really know much. The whole look at the effects of Reaganomics. Even George Bush Jr., it was the people behind him that ran it. The senior was different. He had it because he was former CIA operative. The president, to me, is just a face, because who's really behind the president working?
Right. So my thing is, I want to look at that cabinet and the way, is that how you say it? Cabinet or cabin?
Cabinet.
Right. Yeah. So I want to look at that, and their political records over the years. For what I've seen for the past 4 years, Biden's been on his own, really. I haven't seen Kamala at all, really much. Have you? Have you seen Kamala? No. So it's like, and then with the pandering, with the collard greens, it's like insulting.
In a bathtub, like who put collard greens in a bathtub?
When they had Megan Thee Stallion up there doing all that performance, I was like, okay, now they making a fool out of this girl.
Yeah, but you know what though, Megan Thee Stallion at least had her clothes on, so I could say that
about it. But it was BET Awards, and it's only get worse when the DNC takes place. That was just the start. She might have Sexy Red jump on stage. Ski.
Oh no!
Yeah, she's gonna have Sexy
Red.
Brother
Roosevelt Ward said, "Yeah, the Joint Chiefs of Staffs." I'm looking at it right now. So yeah, that's what we should look at. We should look at their team.
Don't get started with Amber Rose.
What happened with Amber Rose
when she came out for Trump at the Republican National Convention?
So they're both doing some wild, crazy foolishness.
You gotta do the pandering. It's part of politics. You gotta go out there and kiss the babies and shake hands. When Biden ran in 2020, what he did, he put a kente cloth on and took a knee. Remember that? They also had a knee. It was him, the Joint House Speaker. Yo, listen, man, they do it for the black folks, and I get it. This is why I say I won't be surprised you see Trump come out with a Pele on. You know what I'm saying? He might take a picture on 145th from Broadway, throwing up Dipset, right?
I say, black people, we need to have our own independent party. We need to not even try to jump on the bandwagon of being Republican or the Democrat. We just need to have an independent party and have and appoint someone that can run for office right? That we know is reliable and that we trust and that has the intellectual ability and have the critical analysis and critical thinking skills, right? That can run for office. That's what I think.
I think that's a good idea. However, here's the problem. We don't know what we want to be called.
Exactly.
That part, yeah, that silly part right there.
It's like, the African vote. Nah, it can't be the African vote. It's the black vote. Nah, it can't be the black vote. It's
Yeah,
it's the Hebrew vote. Nah, it can't be that either. Like,
Yeah, like
yeah.
but that's a good idea, though, Tiffany.
Well,
That's a good idea. I like that idea right there.
yeah,
yeah.
man. That makes so much sense. But as you said, Ron, it can be like, nah, a difference in opinion. But I bet you'd be like, yo, if we all come together, there could be some kind of payment or some reparations involved. All right, cool, let's go along. Let's do it. Do you see what I'm saying?
But if that happens, Tiffany, then there would have to be a Hispanic vote.
Yeah, I'm all.
That would
I
have
just
to be a
progression.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That'll open up a can of worms.
yeah. And this is why I say the whole Black Lives Matter movement was fake. It's not sending no shot. Umar Johnson had an idea for a school, right? They could have helped fund him for his school. What happened?
But I
Yeah,
mean,
that's a good thought right there. That's a good thought.
They could have helped
Well,
him.
you know what it is? Because they don't like his political views.
Oh,
He calmed down. He talks, about the feminist organization, the movement, and other groups like the LGBTQ, and what I'm saying. So they'll look at him like he's too damn radical. So they wouldn't want to support him anyhow. You know what I'm saying? And then those sisters in that organization, they have their views about men in certain ways.
The nuclear family.
Yeah, the nuclear family. Yeah, they have their views about that. And not all of them are very pro-black. Because I think one of them is dating a white woman or she's Hispanic woman. I don't know what type of woman she is, but yeah, one of them is in a relationship with somebody that's non-black. You know what I'm saying? So that wouldn't really work out to be the best because they'll feel like, okay, yeah, he's too radical.
Mhm.
Yeah,
we got to do a show about the feminism movement.
Feminism.
We gotta get into that.
Yeah, we'll get into that. So we'll definitely get into that one. So now out of Donald Trump, that was a good idea you had there, Tiffany. But out of Donald Trump and Kamala Harris, I say neither. I say neither.
Let's just see what happens election night, man. That's what I'm saying. I want to see how it's gonna go.
We gotta vote for somebody, right?
I voted for Eric B for president, man. That's all I know. Eric B was for president. You know what would have been so dope? I'm gonna be honest with you. Although from what I hear, I wish Malcolm was around or Father Allah, because he had close political ties with the mayor, and bro.
They were moving in the right direction. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to say right now. That's what I'm saying right now, bro. That's the whole point. That's
a whole building, prime real estate at a time like that.
Yes.
Well, come on.
Yes. We need to be moving in that direction. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, yo, man, let's cut out of here. Thanks for everybody for checking us out. We really appreciate it. Hit the like, comment, share, subscribe.
Thank you, Tiffany, for coming out.
Thank you for having me.
Everything, man.
Yo, we're back on Tuesday. Next week, we got a lot going on as usual every week. Heavy hitters. We will see you next week, Tuesday. You know what? We're gonna put up a throwback. I'm gonna put up a throwback Thursday video right after this, so you can view this video and you can view the throwback Thursday video I'm gonna post right after this.
Hold on, Ron. Elections on Tuesday, November 5th, right? We might do a live election show with y'all. We might just be up with you guys. Election night.
Yeah, that's a good thought.
We can talk about the chaos.
For real. Yo, peace to everybody. See y'all Tuesday. And we're out of here.